is still active, the cell phone technology will recognize a new phone number that's just entered the warned area, and it will send you an alert at that point. So you'll get a personalized, well, not personalized, you'll get an individual alert sent to your cell phone, letting you know you're driving into a tornado warned area.
Okay, but we are really not supposed to answer our phones or look at our phones when we're driving, so.
You will know when you get a WIA. It has a distinct ringtone and it has distinct vibration, okay?
I know, but we're not supposed to sit there and stop the bus where we can have somebody call and warn the entire district that somebody in this part of town, and we have buses going that way, can be warned,
Well,
and they
certainly.
may not know.
But you've got a dispatcher, right?
Yeah.
And they're gonna be watching the weather here at the bus barn. So they're gonna know when those warnings get issued for other parts of the county. They're gonna know if you know, if it's just something that's affecting Derby and Mulvane, and let you know that way.
I also think too, we got families spread out working here and working there. Somebody here not knowing, not having a phone, is gonna drive into the zone where the county could blow the siren. I know about pre-doing or overdoing it. I just kind of think it's like, how many people are driving into the zone and don't know there is a zone, and babysitters and so forth, and all this kind of stuff.
There's no perfect system. And that's why we tell people to have multiple layers of getting a warning delivered to them. Because regardless of what system we use, and the sirens are actually the least reliable component of a warning, of the layered warning approach. They're usually the last thing to go off. They are more susceptible to failure than anything else because of the electromechanics involved in operating a siren. So you need to have that wireless emergency alert. You need to have somebody that's watching your back if you're out on a bus route, somebody that's got access to a NOAA weather radio or TV or commercial radio, and they're communicating over your two-way radio and letting you know where the threat is and what to do to stay safe. But that's really the best answer I've got for you. There's no perfect solution, so that's why we have to have multiple layers.
Okay, I just kind of think.
Sure.
I think they fine-tuned it, and maybe is that the safest way? And if we overwarn, I mean, people, you know, hey, sirens is low, get on your TV and see what's going on.
That's the purpose of them.
Knowing.
But that's why we saw such 167 people die in Joplin. Joplin used to sound their sirens for severe thunderstorm warnings. And so people would hear the sirens and just not associate it with anything meaning danger, and they tuned them out. And so when it was real and there was an EF5 tornado bearing down on the city, they were tuning out the sirens, and that's why so many people died that day. So I think you're going to have a hard time convincing me otherwise.
I didn't advance, I'm
Well,
not saying.
I'm trying, you're right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it to sound confrontational, I didn't at all. I appreciate your input, I really do. But I need to get back to this because I gotta go get you guys out of here. When it comes to weather reporting, there are several ways that you can be part of the process that helps keep people downstream of this storm safe. Weather spotters on the day of the Andover tornado made all the difference in the world. There would not have been a warning on that storm when it moved into Andover if it had not been for spotters in the field. Now, this does not need to be your first call or your first priority. Your first priority is your students and getting them to safety. But if they are safe and you have something to report to the National Weather Service, something they need to know about, then there's several ways you can do it. You can use that number on your phone, which is also the same number on the handout that I gave you. Keep this handout in your bus. You probably all got a packet or a pocket where you can keep papers and stuff like that. And on days when we're expecting severe weather and you're sitting in the line at the school waiting for the kids to come out, pull this out and use it as a quick refresher. It talks about the different cloud features that we talked about. It talks about the different storm types on the back side of it. Just give you that general reminder of, oh yeah, this is what we talked about. This is what I need to be on the lookout for. And this is what that cloud feature means and that type of thing. But there's several ways, like I say, you can get it to the Weather Service office here in Wichita. They like Twitter, at NWS Wichita, because then you can send a picture to them. You can do Facebook as well. You can use the MPing app and download that on your phone, and then it's automated. It puts a geo stamp on it when you submit that report, and it's a drop-down menu so you can select what it is that you're wanting to report. And then there's that 800 number that you see up there, and then you see it on the handout as well. That rings through to the Weather Service office here at the airport. It will be answered 24/7, even during a weather emergency. So use it wisely. You don't need to call them to report pea-size hail in Mays when you know they're dealing with another tornado down in Hayesville, for example. It's not a line to call and say, hey, my daughter's going to have an outdoor wedding next month. What's the forecast for this day and this time? It's not for that. It is though for reporting severe weather. And you should feel free to call that. They're gonna ask you some questions. They're gonna wanna know who you are. What's your affiliation? You can tell them you're a Goddard bus driver and you've been through a storm spotter class. That will instantly up your credibility quite a bit, because you have been through a miniature version of a storm spotter class. You've been told what to look for and how to report it. They're going to know where you are and where it is relative to you. What is it you're seeing? When did it happen? You might need to add a timestamp to it. A perfect report would be, I'm at 119th Street West and 53rd Street North. I'm looking off to my northwest, about 3 miles away, I'm seeing a rotating wall cloud, or funnel cloud, or whatever it is I'm saying. I didn't put a timestamp on it because of the words I was using. I was talking in the acting voice. I'm here now, I'm seeing this now. It's obvious what the timestamp is. Maybe you have to delay a report because you had to get the kids off, or maybe it was a hailstorm. You didn't want to go out and pick up the hail while it was still falling. So 10 minutes ago, we had baseball, or that's not baseball. Let's say we had quarter-sized hail moving through the city of Maine. That's all they need to know. The things that they want you to talk about, they want to know about flooding. If there's areas or streets that are underwater, if there's rivers, creeks, streams out of their banks. This one, the last bullet on that one, the water rushing over a roadway, that is a life-threatening emergency in progress, because we don't know if the road is even still there, and we don't want people driving through that. So call 911 on that. It is acceptable. At the very least, they can get a fire truck or police truck, car, something with lights on top of it out there to warn people to stop, and then we can get Public Works out with the barricades to close off the roads more permanently. So in addition to flooding, they want to know about severe winds. 58 miles per hour is actually the threshold for getting a severe thunderstorm warning issued. You're never going to know exactly what the wind speeds are unless you have a portable anemometer. So don't try and assign a number to it. Instead, tell them the type of damage that it caused, or submit a picture with the damage. Tell them you had tree limbs broken off in your front yard. What size of limbs? Oh, they're about 2 to 3 inches in diameter. Okay, thanks. The trees were blown down maybe, or your chicken coop was blown down, or the roof taken off your shed, or shingles taken off the roof of your house. Whatever it might be, tell them the damage caused. They want to know about wall clouds, and then they're going to ask you, was it rotating or not? They want to know about funnel clouds. If you see a funnel, you immediately look down below it to see if it's making contact with the ground before you report that. Because if it's making contact with the ground, kicking up dust, it's not a funnel, it's a tornado at that point. If you're going to report a tornado, they'd like a brief description of the size. A little skinny rope tornado, a stovepipe tornado, a cone or a funnel tornado. Don't call it funnel tornado. It looks like a funnel, really wide at the top, really narrow at the bottom, but they call that a cone tornado or an elephant trunk tornado. And then there's also the biggest of all is the wedge tornado. They want to know about any damage that's caused by severe weather, by wind, by floods, by hail, whatever the damage was. If you're going to make a hail report, tell them if you're estimating or measuring it, it's preferable to put a tape on it if you have one handy, or if not, compare it to a coin size or a ball size. They don't like it if you use marble size for some reason, but you can use just about any other round spherical object to report the size of it. So I hope this has been helpful to you guys. I think we've had some good discussions. I think you've seen some good videos that warn you about things to avoid, and you know a little bit better how to stay safe. You understand some of the features of severe weather that we talked about today. You know that we got to know what the plan is, and you got to know what your role in that plan is. Know where those safe houses are, for example, along your route. And then finally, if there is time, report what you see. So I appreciate the invitation to be out here today, and I appreciate your attention and your involvement in the presentation. That's all I've got for you. So hopefully you all learned something that's going to help keep you safe as we move into this nasty weather season.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is your tornado forecast for this season?
I don't have a tornado forecast.
You don't have that? Because I don't know, it's like there's more expected than... I know it's Kansas, and you can't really...
Long-range forecasting is about like trying to fill out an NCAA bracket. Okay. And we saw how that worked. Okay. There are some people, if you look hard enough, there are some people who tell you we're in for a more active than normal season. On the other hand, for the last 3 years, it's been a less active than normal season. So which trend is going to continue? Are we going to continue calm, or is Mother Nature going to catch up with us and the law of averages going to catch up? It's mainly a crapshoot.
Okay, so it's,
Yeah, the last couple of years were pretty calm. What I grew up with most of my life was not.
I'm from Arizona, we had monsoons, and I saw the haboos coming through.
Yeah.
But I just want to see one. I've been through a typhoon, an earthquake, and a hurricane. I need to add a tornado to that.
No, you
from
don't.
the distance,
No, you
from
don't.
a distance. I can't look very close.
Not while you're in Sedgwick County. No, you don't.
I'm from Tornado Alley, so.
See, that's
have